Respect is our topic today, especially for women. I'm Armstrong Williams. Join us. You know, it even startled me as I was thinking about this conversation. I can't think of a woman in the world I have a bad relationship with. I have conflict with. I have the best relationships with women. It's the craziest thing.
I think I've heard this before.
It's true, I just don't. My sisters, I must talk to them 4 or 5 times every day. My mother, I talk to her 6 or 7 times every day. And guys ask me a lot this question: how is it that you have so much respect for women and they show the same respect for you? And I realize, you know, women have lost a lot of respect for men, and vice versa, men have lost respect for women. And so I said to my producers, we need to do a show to talk about respect. But let me introduce my guest. Dr. Wendy Osefo is a professor at the Johns Hopkins University and founder and CEO of the 1954 Equity Project. Regina Bratton is the executive producer, and Maurice Nix is a supply chain command. And they all join us today. I want to tell you this. You know, an example was, you know, my mother, who's 90 years old, can ask me to do some of the most ridiculous things. I must tell you, really. But I make her feel like it's the best thing she could ever ask me to do. She actually still believes in clotheslines. She actually wants me to go out. She has a washer and dryer. They hang these clothes on the line, and when the sun dries them,
you gotta go get them.
Gotta go get them. But you know what?
That's right.
Because it's important to her, it becomes more important to me.
That's right.
So she will never know how I really feel inside about when I go home. Why? Because I respect her.
That's right.
And I trust her. And because it's important to her, it's important to me. And another thing is, I listen to her. Whether she's talking about the chickens, the goats, things that make you realize what's really important in life, I listen. A lot of times we don't listen to each other, we demean each other, we disrespect each other, and we tell jokes, and sometimes don't know when to be serious. So what we wanted to do today is have a conversation about bringing back respect.
Absolutely. And I think that when it comes to respect for women, we have to look at the historical significance, right? Whether we're talking about the 1963 Fair Pay Act or the incorporation of women in the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Historically, women in this country have been an underrepresented minority. Until today, we are still struggling for that equality that is given to our male counterparts. Even if it's in the workplace, even if you're talking in the boardroom or in the classroom, women constantly have to fight for our place and our position in society, and that's not right. Do we even need to bring up election 2016? And that conversation when we had a woman candidate who was very qualified as far as, you know, her resume, as opposed to someone else, another candidate.
But 52% of women voted for that male candidate.
Exactly.
And what does that tell you?
Well, that tells me that was the Bradley effect in full mode, right? And that's a
because
phenomenon.
she was a woman?
Because she was a woman. I would argue that.
It has to be much more than that she was a woman.
I think it was not just that she was a woman. I think that a lot of people did not find her relatable. And that can also speak to the fact that some people felt as though her being a woman, she really didn't play it up, right? She always talks about she wears pantsuits. And for women, some women felt as though she was shunning what are traditional trappings of womanhood, right?
What about the dress code for women, Regina? That's a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
I think about the Queen of England, and I think about leading women today.
Yes.
You know, my mother, in her life, I've never seen her in pants. She's never in her entire life has ever worn pants.
Absolutely.
That's almost unheard of for you.
Yes.
I don't think that it's a problem. You know, I think women should be able to choose whatever they want to wear. But I want to take this a little bit further. For example, a comedian a while ago, he said, you know, women get upset when they're objectified, when they wear this revealing clothing, and they get so offended by it. But he's like, you know what? If I walk up to a person who's in a police uniform, I'm thinking that they're a policeman. So if I walk up to you and you're in some scantily clad outfit, I'm thinking that you're that type of person. I mean, that makes sense to me. I know that you guys might not agree with that, but that totally makes sense to me. I think that you have to respect yourself, and I think that's what it starts with. You know, just personal responsibility, respect yourself. I don't care if you're in a pantsuit or dress. You know, that's immaterial. But you know, just be respectful about who you are, and that is womanhood. You know, being strong, respecting yourself, loving yourself. We have to work harder. We have to train harder. It's just a fact of life. We have to stop complaining about it. We just need to do it. And I think we do need to demand equal pay, but I think we also need to be at the same level. We need to be able to do the job. We can't just, you know, say, oh, well, I'm a woman and, you know, let's fill this quota. No, you need to be able to do the job just like anybody else. And then you can demand that equal pay. You can demand whatever it is that you want. You have to be up to par.
Maurice?
I don't think the latter part of our argument has ever been an issue. I see women all the time that are up to par who are as educated more so than men. So, I mean, equal pay really shouldn't be a point of discussion at this point in 2016, that we have a male and a woman hired to do the same role, yet he's getting paid more. Why? Like, why does that exist? Why does that make sense? It doesn't. So why do we
But how do you
persist?
address this? Not to interrupt you. Women much prefer working for men than they do women.
And
They
I-
find it to be the most difficult,
I
challenging
tell you,
environment.
I tell you, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I do prefer working for men. I don't know why it is. I can't explain it to you, but I have better relationships with men as my boss than I have with women.
Wait a minute.
I can't speak to her experience, but societal bias is a thing. So growing up in a society that perpetuates various stereotypes, you kind of grow up in that mindset, and that's what you...
No, I think it more has to do with
I'm
their
not a
executive
woman,
style. It has to
and
do
I
with their
don't-
executive style.
I don't
As
think
an owner.
I don't think it has to do with executive style.
You don't think it has to do with
No,
style?
I think it actually, and not to throw you under the bus, but I think that what she said speaks to you saying that 52% of women voted
yes.
for Trump. Unfortunately, women, we have to work within our own community to build that sense of that we can do the work, right? Because unfortunately, women do not want to work for other women because they feel as though women have these negative connotations when a woman is in power. And so when it was time to vote,
You don't think
yes.
there's any truth to that about working for another woman?
No, I
None
think,
at all?
No, I do
Let me
not
take a
think.
break.
I do not think it's
Let's
true.
get-
No,
let's
I do
take a
not.
break.
I do not.
You don't take a break.
I do not.
We will be back.
I do not.
Don't go away.
I do not.
Hold that. And welcome back. You know, I will tell you this. Now, I know people are going to think I'm old school like Regina. I have never in my life
Don't take that.
used a word of profanity in the presence of a woman. Ever.
Okay.
I don't
To
curse,
me,
period.
that is disrespectful. It's demeaning, but it's a way of conversation these days. Dr. Osefo.
I mean, I agree with that, you know, but I don't think that that's something that is completely aligned to just women. I think just as we respect each other, we shouldn't use profanity in front of each other, right? Because that's
I
just
agree.
not
But I think
how
it's
we
much
talk.
more demeaning with women.
Why do we
certain
keep on
language.
having these labels for women?
Because women and men are different. That's just a fact.
And in what way?
The Bible tells us that.
Aside from anatomy.
No, listen, they're different. Women can't do what men do. That's just a fact. They can't. You can do some things better, but we do some things better.
And you know
That's
what's
just a
so
fact.
interesting about that?
Yes.
There is this psychology theory called the precarious manhood theory. And it says that with the precarious manhood theory, that womanhood is something in which you're born with, right?
So
and
it's
it's something
manhood.
that's permanent. No, they say that manhood is something that has to be earned and maintained. And the quickest way to lose manhood is for a woman to do something a man can, which then causes the man to feel emasculated. And that is what
And
you
what
just
is it that a
said.
woman can do?
Oh, a woman can do almost every single thing in which you can do.
This goes back to the family and the breakdown of the family. and I'm a mother and I have 2 children. I'm married. And let me just
Me
tell
as
you,
well, yeah.
I just feel like I don't think that my husband could successfully raise my daughter. And I don't think that I could successfully raise my son on my own.
Okay.
I think that, you know, in my mind state, a mother trains her daughter to be a woman. You know what I mean?
Okay.
A father trains his son to be a man.
Yes.
And I think that the problem with gender in this country is the fact that there's a breakdown, there's a systemic breakdown of the family. And the roles are misconstrued and they're all over the place. And I think that that's the core of the problem. I don't know if do you not agree with that?
No, I agree, but I think that as a mother of 2 small boys, but also as an aunt of a young girl, right? I will never teach my niece, Bianca, that you know what, because you're a girl, you cannot do the same thing that your cousins Carter and Cruz can do. She can achieve, and that's what I love
But
so
we're not
much
talking about achievement now. I agree with you on that.
Okay, but that's what I'm talking
Yes,
about. I'm talking about achievement.
I
I'm talking
agree.
about achievement.
There's nothing wrong with being a woman. There's nothing wrong with
What does
womanhood.
a woman mean?
I mean,
What
a
does that
woman.
mean?
I mean, a woman. We're the mothers of the earth. I mean, I don't
Okay.
know. I don't need to go out and be a soldier to prove that I'm just as good as a man. Not to say that I'm nothing against that.
Okay.
I'm just saying there is nothing wrong with being a woman. There is nothing wrong with nurturing your family.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mother.
Absolutely.
And sometimes those jobs, because they are jobs, are demonized, and it's like you're not doing enough, you're not achieving enough, you need to do this, you need to carry the female flag, whatever. I mean, I just feel like, you know, I just feel like that we're playing. Why are we trying to be like men? You know, I don't understand. The one thing that I don't understand, let me just tell you the one thing I don't understand, and that you guys might think that I'm crazy, but I do not understand why any woman would want to serve in the military. I love the military. I love the military. Honestly, I love the military, but
Except as a nurse.
I love the military.
Yes,
but
as a
I
nurse.
don't know
I
why
agree.
in the world
Yes.
or do you want to be
Oh, yeah.
crawling through, you
Yes.
know,
Because you want
And
to
you can get
you
kidnapped
want-
and raped.
and all
Right.
kinds of
Because
stuff.
you want to serve your country.
Serve your country. Why in the
wouldn't
world
you
do you
want
want
to
Be a
want to
nurse
go
or
with the
cook. You can
military?
go in the kitchen. You can cook.
Oh, you want me to cook?
No, I prefer you
how
being in the
about
kitchen
not?
instead of being on the
How
front
about
line.
not? How about they
No,
go in
but
the
it's not
kitchen and they
offensive.
clean their
It's not
rifle?
offensive.
But why
Okay?
would you want to be on the front
Front
line?
Why
line.
wouldn't
You could be
they?
kidnapped and raped.
The same way a man could be kidnapped
That's
and
different.
raped.
It's
Different
different.
in what
The
way?
man can't
telling
get
you.
pregnant.
I know,
And
but
have to
I
live with that
agree.
the rest of his life. Come on,
That's
come
not
on.
the only
You're trying to be
story that rape
politically
leaves
correct. I'm
behind.
surprised at you. She's right.
surprised at me?
What's wrong with us to say that it's okay for women to be and taking care of the food in the military, or
There's
being
nothing.
nurses,
Why
taking care of
are
the
we
sick?
acting
But
like
I'm
it's
about
mutually
it.
exclusive? They can
Now,
do
some
both.
people-
They can
most
do
people
both.
understand what I'm saying. I'm not being offensive to women. I'm not being disrespectful.
I hope
Okay.
that I'm not being
I'm not.
disrespectful.
No.
Not at all.
Because I totally don't understand that. I don't understand that mindset. You know, my daughter's name is Bianca, by the way. My daughter has a really good friend named Angela. And Angela's a couple of years younger than her. And Angela has now informed us that she wants to, she's a boy. You know, she's always been a boy.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm having a hard time with that situation because I'm like, why do you feel like you're a boy? You know, tell me why. You know, what is it to, you know, help me to understand you. And she can't articulate it. You know, she just, you know, wants to look a certain way, wants to wear certain things.
How old is she?
She's only like 12 years old. And to me, I don't think that a 12-year-old child has the knowledge base to be able to make that type of a drastic decision like that. So I don't want to, you know, just skew off, but it goes back again to, you know, just gender identity and feeling like you need to be more masculine to be more successful.
Dr.
You
Osefo,
you don't have to be more masculine to be more successful, because a boss is a boss is a boss.
Correct.
Okay, you don't have to be more masculine. I mean, I know you talked a little bit about the way women dress, but you know, I have to bring in Beyonce here, right? Because she is a pop superstar, and I love the fact that even though she has that superstardom, so to speak, she does not have to give away her femininity at all. She goes on that stage, leotards and all, and lets you know that she's a woman, lets you know that she is a mother, and lets you know that she is a wife. And yet she still controls the entire industry.
But
so
she
I don't
is
think that you
dressing
have
the
to.
part. She is, okay, she's putting on her pop star
It's a show.
uniform. It's a show.
To say what? So you say at
That's
home she's
her
not a
part.
boss?
she's not the same person.
Oh, you know,
She is a boss at
No.
home. She is a boss at home. She is absolutely
A
a
man
boss
should
at
be
home.
the head of the
But I'm
household.
telling you,
If
she's
he's a
not
good
wearing
man.
those leotards walking down
Right.
Fifth Avenue. You better believe that's not happening.
let me tell you
that's
something.
never been happening.
What the
you put
issue
on the
is-
uniform that you
No.
are portraying.
No, because-
she's a pop star. She's on stage looking sexy in her scantily clad outfit. That's what she's supposed to do.
How did you get to this point? What happened?
I am a boss.
Okay. Okay.
That's how I got to this point.
Okay.
But let's dissect that a little bit. I was raised by a single mother. I'm Nigerian, right? And my mother told us that no matter what, you can achieve. I am a professor. I have always been the youngest professor in all of my departments. Before that, I chaired the department. My sister is a surgeon. We both said that no matter what, we can achieve what we want.
have a
to.
husband?
I do have a husband. My husband's an attorney. He is a boss.
Both of your bosses.
We're bosses.
So
She's raising two
I
bosses.
think
And I'm
that's
raising two bosses,
Two
Carter
bosses.
and
But
Cruz.
nobody's
That is
arguing with that, but
fantastic.
I just, maybe it's a different culture in some ways.
I don't know, but what
Maybe
I'm
that's
saying,
it.
what
But
I'm
let me
saying,
take a break. Let me take a break. Because I respect what you're saying. I don't want people to think that I'm some chauvinist, centrist, lost in the world. No, I'm not.
got
I'm
some
enlightened.
explaining to do.
We'll be back. We'll be back. Denise Lorlock, publisher of the Washington Informer, is joining our set. We're talking about respect for women.
Yes.
Especially in the workforce. Your thoughts?
You know, as you know, Armstrong, about a year ago, I became chair of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. I'm also publisher of a newspaper that was started by my father in 1964. When my dad passed, you know, one of the things that people said to me then was, how are you going to fill his footsteps? And you know, Dr. Rollard, Calvin Rollard, was a large, you know, man with a big booming voice and a lot of power and influence and very large footsteps. And I had to realize those were footsteps I'd never fill. And so I think for many women, a lot of us are trying to chart our own course. We have problems not only with respect from our male counterparts, but also some of our female counterparts. We need, I think, an opportunity to find ways to mentor each other and to talk to each other and to groom each other. And it's difficult. After all these years that we've talked about, you know, women's rights and women's opportunity in boardrooms and what have you, we're still a far away from that.
Dr. Osefo, how do you close the gap?
I think, to be honest with you, that gap will always exist, right? I'll be very honest. I think that there is a gap and it's going to continue to exist because society will continue to put gender roles and gender labels on men and women. And no matter what, even if a woman does achieve what is traditionally known as male achievement, then the conversation is never that she has achieved, is more so that she took on the characteristics of a man to be able to do that. And because we continue to have those type of conversations, that gap, I think, will always be there.
Regina, where have we made the most progress?
You know, I think we've made a lot of progress in the workplace. There are a lot of female CEOs, Whitman. You're running your own publishing company. You are top of your field. I think that there have been a lot of ground that we've made up in the workplace. But I do think that, you know, women just feel like they have to take on this male stigma characteristics in order to be successful, and you don't have to. You can be, there's nothing wrong with being a woman, being a smart, strong woman. You don't have to, you know, be crass and be nasty and be overly aggressive to succeed. You know, and I think that that's the problem with, you know, with women, you know, and gender is an issue, you know. Gender absolutely, I'm just going back to something that you said, gender absolutely separates us. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, you know, with a man being a man. There's nothing wrong with a woman being a woman. That's the order of things. That's the nature of things. That's what's common. That's what's natural. So I don't think that we have to take on these male stereotypes.
What role does the media play in all this?
Well, I think it plays a really big role, Armstrong,
Absolutely.
just like with every other group in this country. When we don't see women who are in positions, who are at the table, who are making decisions, and who are doing so not necessarily for the sexy roles that they play, but the intelligent, smart, difficult roles that we play every day in our lives, the decisions that we have to make about raising our families, taking care of our households, managing our businesses. Men do the same thing these days, but women do it with less. You know, I mean, and you talk about the achievements, right, we've achieved, we are at the table, we are a part of the decision makers now, but the point is, my decision, your decision may bring you $1 million. My decision may bring me 100,000. That's the difference. You know, it may take you, you may take my idea for you to make that $1 million. It may take me, you know, knocking my head against the wall and saying it over and over again for somebody to even hear me, you know, in order to pay me. So that's the challenge.
As we go to break, you know, in my world, because 50% of my employees are women, I must live in a bubble. I think women are the most successful demographic in the country. That's the world I live in.
But you have to look in their pocketbooks and see what they're bringing home to their families.
On our business better than me. I can definitely say on that one, they make a lot of money. Welcome back. Your final thoughts.
My final thought is that, you know, we as a society have changed. We as a society have evolved. Unfortunately, our notions and connotations of gender roles have not. And I will say that if women are not given a seat at the table, please rest assured that we are more than comfortable to bring a chair and sit right down beside you.
I believe you. Regina, quickly.
I do believe that women have a seat at the table. I think that we have to apply ourselves just like men have to apply themselves. I'm not saying that there is not gender bias, because there is gender bias. And it's everywhere. But, you know, we can't complain about that. We just have to keep it moving and make sure that we're recognized for our work.
Denise?
And I just want to, the whole conversation is about respect, and I think that all across the board, everybody wants to be respected for who they are, what they bring to the table, what they have to offer. And so if you find that you are not treating people the way you want to be treated, check yourself.
Well, you know what? I love working around strong women, brilliant women, decisive women, because they make me better. They grow me. For me, they've been the best employees of all throughout my ownership career. And that is just a fact. I couldn't do without my sisters. You all have a good day. Y'all may have a problem. Brother, I don't have that problem. I'm here to grow that business. And if it takes that woman, grow it, baby. That's a fact.